Welcome back. Today we are doing something a little different and we're going to do a boat tour. So this is SV Goose. He is a 2017 Seawind 1260 and we'll show you around. Hey there.
I'm Kelsey, that's Tim, and this is the story of our adventure. Life is fleeting and we want to squeeze every bit out of it. We are wandering the world, so home is a bit of a moving target for us. We love finding the random, the remote, and sharing it all with you. So subscribe to get lost with us and hopefully find some inspiration to go after your own dreams.
All right, today we're going to show you around the boat and how we've been using it, changes that we've made. I'm going to show you the outside, Kelsey's going to show you the inside, so let's go. First off, these beautiful no-seam nets. So we went with no-seam material, which is a lot finer than mosquito netting. Come on out. Just because those are the ones that annoy us the most. And we actually haven't seen too many mosquitoes. It's really been no-seams.
Yeah.
So you get less airflow, but because literally there's no door here, because it's up and out of the way above us, and we've left it like this, except for the night of Flocella when it was really loud.
Yeah.
We've left this up for months at this point. So I have a feeling that this door won't close very often unless for security reasons or something else we want to close it. Kelsey sewed in little magnets to it. There's little Velcro strips up here so you can roll them up and put them out of the way. Or sometimes we'll just put them over through these handles to get them out of our way if we're just going to do a short sail. So that is an awesome feature. As well, if you've looked at any Seawinds, you know this door, trifold door, the two sides come together, goes up and out of the way, and then this really becomes part of your living area. We've got a table here. There's two coolers. We've actually found that we're leaving this one here. They store beneath the helm seats
Show you the other
on
side.
either side. But we've just found that because this is a nice spot to sit with your back against, by the way, this is our old sail that Kelsey has sewn into pillows, and I love it. So there's our SW for Seawind. This is a nice place to sit, and now that we put the cooler here, this is a really nice place to sit. These coolers are not the Seawind ones, which were fiberglass and as heavy duty as the boat, and they were insanely heavy. I think we cut 100 pounds just going to normal roto-molded coolers from Costco, basically like a knockoff Yeti. And then we went ahead and put the same snaps on them, so you got cushions on them. But those are really nice. You can move them around. We store anything we need to get to quickly, like extra lines, etc.
And they do not move even in heavy seas. That's
Yeah,
pretty
they
amazing,
really never
actually.
move. They're fantastic. And these are so much lighter to move and slide around without damaging our fake teak floor. These are a couple of cushions we use. You see them when we're using sunset, sort of like happy hour. They're great to move around the boat. We've got dual helms. This side only has a compass, so really we don't use it that often to truly steer unless we're just sailing by hand and for the fun of it. But even when we're on an opposite tack, you can see so much because of these windows when you're sitting over here at the primary helm. And so we tend to just use the one, to be honest. Still glad that we have the second because it's redundancies. So if we actually were to hurt the steering system, that one is separate, so that's your backup, right? So that one's not, they are connected. But you could simply pull a pin right down here, and there's a little access hatch right there. Pull the pin, and then go to the other rudder, and you still have some steering. Here we have power windows on both sides. And we have spare electric motors for those power windows. And got your chart plotter right here. We put a tablet right here, a cheapo tablet. We got them from Costco, waterproof Samsung tablets loaded with Navionics, etc. We've got our radio in here, and then we just bought an extra mount so we can move it out here. Go to VHF, and there we go. This is a windlass control, and so I will do most of the windlass controls from the helm, and then Kelsey will often sort of take up a little slack at the end of it while I'm starting to steer, while we're letting mud or sand get off of the anchor. She'll leave it in the water, but there are controls up on the deck as well. I love that there's both. I guess the only thing I would add is to do it truly alone, it'd be nice to have a chain counter.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll add that at some point. Everything else, pretty standard controls. Wind instruments we keep showing on this one right here. And we have marked our helm, so we actually know where center is. We realized we never really quite knew where it was. This is one of my favorite features on the whole boat. This is an amazing barbecue, all stainless steel. I mean, it's lived 8 years now out in the elements like this. I guess it's somewhat covered up. It's not exactly sealed in there, but it's not really rusting or anything. You can see it gets a lot of use. We probably need to clean it again, but it cleans up easily. It's a griddle style, which I didn't know I'd love, but when you're used to barbecuing and like half your food falls through the cracks, the bacon, the onion cuts, all that, this is amazing. We're huge fans of this. And when we have a lot of guests, you can do eggs and stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's cool for breakfast when you have a lot of people.
And so we have a little propane shut-off valve down here. Everything on the boat with propane, we shut it off when we're not using it immediately. Propane stored up front, which I'll show you in a minute. And this is on some gas struts that unbelievably have been lasting all these years. The grease trap actually goes right down into the ocean. And then you've got a lock on it as well. So underway, it's not going to be banging around. This is a cool little feature. So Kelsey made this. Got little snaps up on top and on the bottom. And then additionally, it's got sail track up there. And so this is actually a super cheap Sunbrella off-brand from Costco sail that you would put like in your backyard. We actually had some in our old house. We cut it up, turned it into this with the sail track up there. We got the sail track from like Amazon. And when you're in this latitude, you almost always have the rear end, the stern of your boat facing west, meaning it's facing the setting sun. So it's always super bright because of the trade winds generally blowing from east to west. The back end of your boat's into the sunset, which is beautiful, but it starts to burn your eyes out a little bit sitting in here. So we love this one to have a little bit of shade, just to cut it down a little bit. And it takes 2 seconds to pull down because it's 4 buttons and the piece of sail track. Pull it out and it's gone. So that's really nice to have. This side over here, you've got, again, more steering control access in these hatches down there. And this, we actually don't use it as it's installed. It's a freshwater sink here. You could gut some fish up here, but because it's sort of like would be harder to clean up, we use this mat and we gut our fish on the sugar steps. Or if it's really rough, you can do it right here and then just use a bucket to wash it off. But it is nice to have the fresh water out here in a sink. For us, it's mostly fishing supplies. So we've got all of our hand lines, lures, all that sort of stuff in here, and then supplies for cleaning the hull. So basically, we just have used this for fishing or hull cleaning stuff. Up above, we've now installed some rod holders. So we finally now have a rod. We've got 3 spears and another one is on the way because that's become something that we do almost every single day to get our dinners. But it's a really nice setup. Over on this side, we've got a mirrored setup, but without controls. So again, if you had the actual throttles, I think we'd probably use this a little more often. But we tend to just sit here to be on watch. It's got a power window as well. Kelsey's made some with, this is, what's this metal called?
Spring steel, I think.
Spring steel. The same stuff that, like, if you have a car, you know, that shade that you put up in the front windshield of your car, and then you have to kind of fold it to put it away. Same stuff. And so you can make it out of this. When you're done, you can fold it and put it away. But this way, we just get more airflow. We tend to leave this window down unless it's really cold. We've got Basil, the basil plant over here hanging out, and he's got little grippy feet, keep him from going, but it's nice to have. We've now taken all of our old soft shackles from the off-roading days and put them on the boat to secure whatever might break. Kelsey's actually able to make these as well. So here's some that she's made, as well as some little mini ones that we've got. Moving back to the swim steps, we do have some rod holders back here. We've got an engine mount as well for the outboard. So on like a blue water passage, we'll remove that engine. It weighs like 90 pounds, so it's light for a 20 horse, but still it's nice to have some of the weight off the dinghy. I'll usually pull the fuel tank out and the engine off. We've got fiddle blocks to lift the dinghy. We do these by hand. So of course, a lot of boats will have a nice little electric winch that'll pull it up. It's just not that heavy because of the 3-to-1 fiddle blocks. Makes it feel pretty light anyways. Yeah. So that's pretty much that. This tends to be the side we get on and off of, just for whatever reason, you start to build up habits. We've got some lifelines right here that will close anytime we're offshore, just to make it a little bit safer. Coming up, over here, we've got the same lifelines. One thing we really like, though, it's a small thing, but we've noticed even on some very high-end boats, they just sort of have the swim step ladder sitting there. And on a boat, you stub your toe on anything that sticks up. And so I do love that this ladder lives down in here. You open it up and just throw it into the water, and then it's hanging off the end. But when you're not using it, this swim step is just as safe and easy to use as that one. So that's really nice for us. And then got some handles too, so when you swim them up, you can kind of pull yourself up if the swim step's not down. I don't like the idea of having a boat where you can't get in without the swim step down in case you jump in and forget to put it down.
Yeah.
I've added my dead cat here so we don't get too much wind noise. So we're gonna head forward here, but last couple of things. We do have one power winch on this side, manual, store the handle right here. We use this handle also for our traveler. So this moves the boom. So your mainsail, if you kind of want it offset to one side, you're gonna use this. Or when we're trying to get solar, we move it way over and then use a strap to hold it way, way out. I do love on this boat, everything comes back to the helm, or at least back to this protected area. So this is our first reef, which we've been using a lot recently, and reef just means on the mainsail, you can have less of it up. So when it gets really strong wind, you want less cloth, less sail out there in the wind, and everything's done back from here. And I love that. You don't want to have to go up to the mast like a lot of boats. So let's move forward. Okay, so as you can see, we've got these two glass windows looking up so you can see the sails. We've got, this is a blackout that Kelsey made. We use the pattern of the shade one, and just in hot areas, we want to have the option of at least a few of the windows have full blackout. We don't leave them on all the time just because it's nice to be able to see 360 degrees, but we'll keep making more of these as we go. Both sides have a step and a handle so you can get up to the mainsail easily. And underway, it's nice because you've got a handhold there and of course the stays as well. This is a brand new sail bag that we got from Barracuda Sails and we love it. The other old one was like rotting itself literally to pieces and the zipper was ripping out. We have a new mainsail and a new jib. They are both Dacron, so we stuck with sort of the tried and true Dacron, but it's a much fancier Dacron and a much fancier cut. So this is Pro Radial Dacron from Dimension Polyant. Had to think about it. And so this is basically our sails made up of all these little different cuts that Barracuda does. Our old one was slab cut, much cheaper Dacron. So it was very stretched out and it was less of a nice sail, I guess you could say. But it is so nice to have these. We love it. And on this boat, I love that you can access the sail. So like on our boat that we did our ASA classes on and a lot of boats that we see on anchorages, the boom, because you have an up top steering position, the boom is taller than you. So you either have to climb the mast or get a step ladder out just to get into the bag and mess with anything you need to mess with. So this is awesome access.
And we have noticed a lot of speed pickup from having
we really have noticed
sails.
Quite an increase in our speed. This right here is our, well, could be used for whatever you have, a downwind sail, etc. For us, we just have an asymmetrical spinnaker, which I'll show you now. So we have a ton of storage up here, starting from the port side. Right now, the only thing in here is our asymmetrical spinnaker. So we're able to use this all the way down into the 60 degrees, and that's wind angle. And then up to, we could pretty much use it as a downwind sail, even though it's not intended for that, because we don't have a downwind sail. So it's kind of nice that we'll use this for a pretty wide range of sail areas. The reason we don't have it in the bag is we've realized every time we put it in the bag, there was always a little moisture on the sail and that just kind of holds it in there and we don't want to get a bunch of mold on it. So we've been using it every couple of days at this point. So we just keep it in this locker sort of on its own so it dries out.
Kind of ready to go.
Yeah. And both nets up here. The netting is original, but it's held up really good. We just started redoing all the lines. So this side's all brand new and then we'll do the other side next. But it's nice to have these nets. Coolest place on the boat when it's hot because the air blows up through here. Both bow sides, we have dolphin seats, or as my dad likes us to call them, Bob seats, because when he visits, that's where he wants to hang out. So, but it's a nice setup. Kelsey recently did an endless loop of Dyneema to hold this block here. It's at the same location and height as the old one was, but the old one, the bearing was going bad, and we realized the jib was always really hard to reel in, right? So that your jib spools up on this, and we just noticed it was getting harder and harder to do, and it was that bearing going bad. So it's nice we have a much cleaner setup. This is a self-tacking jib setup, and what that means is when you're going into the wind, you can tack back and forth with almost no adjustment needed. So we'll tighten up the boom. So the main sheet there, the one you can see that's very loose at the moment, we'll tighten that up, but that's about the only thing we have to do while tacking. So we really love the setup. It's super easy, and if it's nighttime, you don't want anything too complex to be done, you can just simply tack without changing anything. So we love it. It's a little bit smaller sail than a big Genoa that goes past the mast, but it's really nice for us for ease.
Yeah, right now it's a little wonky because we were fixing it. So usually we
everything's a little bit loose. Yeah, everything's a little loose because our jib car, I had to do a little repair on it the other day. This is probably our biggest storage on the whole boat. Now, not much to look at right now, but we've got 8 jerry cans of fuel, diesel, gasoline, 2 paddle boards, 3 very large propane tanks, We've got every bumper for the boat. Sorry, fender. We've got every fender for the boat. And we have 8 of them, I think.
And
so,
dock lines.
Yeah, with nothing in here, you can climb down in there and disappear. It's a
massive
space that we love. We try and keep it light. Fuel is definitely the most weight sensitive thing we have in there. We get down to our windlass. So windlass, Lumar windlass, we've got 300 feet of chain. So we definitely went a little overkill on the chain. But in some areas where we're going to have to anchor in deep waters, we didn't want to come up short. I would say at some point too, the other nice part is when the portion that's always going in the water, like here in the Bahamas, 70 feet is usually what we put out, 70, 85 feet. And so at some portion, that galvanized bit of chain might get old and rusty, and we could just simply cut it off, donate it to a local somewhere, or we can flip the chain and start using the other side. So I am glad we have a lot, although it's a lot of weight, admittedly.
Yeah, and then these are the foot controls.
Yep, got foot controls up here. So you've got one for in, one for out. So Kelsey will use these a lot to kind of finish up the last little touch up to make sure we have the correct amount of chain out, because we have a bridle on the boom, on the cross beam. And so she'll kind of set it up so the chain isn't laying on the floor of the ocean, scraping along. But at the same time, it's not so tight that any of the load is on it. We want the load on these bridles that Kelsey actually spliced up for us. This one is actually a surprisingly large storage area because it goes off to the side. The only thing in here right now is sort of our backup rode. So we got some chain, line, and then a big Danforth anchor that's the same size as our main anchor. So it's not as modern of a style, but weight-wise, it's more than enough if we lose this anchor or something happens to use as a main anchor. This side, we've got a sort of cushion backrest that Kelsey made actually out of our old sail. So that's 126001, hull number 1. So I kind of love that we're able to keep a bit of our old sails and reuse them. This one, kind of a bit of a catch-all. Yeah. We've got our other life ring in there, hose, and you can see this wash down right here. I have it set up for fresh water since we have a water maker, but I want to put in a little T-valve so I can switch it to salt water as well. Originally it was salt water. But I feel like if we're going to wash down the boat, we'd rather use fresh, and now we can make fresh. So primarily it'll be fresh, but I would like the option. So that's something we'll change. We've got a bunch of other junk in there. We've got a pump for our paddle boards, etc. But we try and keep the bow of the boat pretty light. On a catamaran, you know, you're already going to be bashing into the waves a fair amount with a 40-foot hull, but we want to try and keep it as light up here as we can. Okay, coming up here, Kelsey made these. This is a blackout on top, and then, as you can see, nice mosquito and no-see-um netting on the bottom part. So what's nice about these is that you get all the sun protection from above, but you can still see 360 degrees, so we really love these. We do have a traditional sort of just a shade setup like this that wraps around them as well, but we just haven't been using them. Once Kelsey made these, it cuts out that sun coming in and cooking you, and it's really nice to have. All these deck organizers we've replaced. Some of the bearings were going bad in them, so that's nice. All of the windows, we have these that came with the boat, just general shade covers. And like I said, we're making blackout style, so when it's really hot, or you just want the privacy, you can kind of set it up to be blacked out entirely.
Even the mesh just really helps with the heat.
So up here, we've got 1600 watts of solar, 400 watts in these soft, flexible panels from Bougie RV, 2 500-watt large panels that we installed, and then 2 200-watt originals from when the boat was built. We also have our permanent mount for our Starlink up here, semi-permanent really, because we can actually remove it pretty easily, but I like that it just stays put. When we bought the boat, we had to put it out every time we wanted to use it. And then coming back this side, we've got the 2 manual winches on this side, and then all these extra blocks and stuff we actually use for our asymmetrical spinnaker. And if we were ever to put a bowsprit on, we could start using it for some of the sails that we might put on there. Got our life ring here already rigged up and ready to go with line, as well as a light. So if you toss this in, you have a better chance of finding somebody. And I think that pretty much does it.
I think so.
Yeah. So I'm going to hand it off to Kelsey, and she's going to show you the interior.
All right, so I will take you inside, and I'm sure Tim will have some things to mention, like with the water maker and that kind of thing, but let's go inside. So we have little rugs everywhere, I will point out. We have this nice one out here, and then we have one that's actually soft, so it's comfortable when you're standing there on watch for a long time. But in here we have this one, so your feet get dry, because One thing, this floor is so slippery when you have wet feet that I actually put grips going down the stairs. They're clear, so you can't see them. But yeah, it gets really slippery. So be careful if you have wet feet. This is just the dining table in the salon. And it does go down into a bed. So like if we're on a long passage, we'll put this down and it has a cushion that goes over. It also swivels, so you have different layouts. Like if you're having people and you want it buffet style, you can do that, or you can configure it however you want. This piece also moves around. So when we're just on a shorter passage, pull this, and then this becomes like a nice day bed that you can sleep on. Underneath here is all the things you want to get to quick, like first aid and safety gear and that sort of thing. So that one is labeled actually, and it's easy to get to. But this is how we live. The configuration, I'd say 99% of the time, it's just comfortable because two people can kind of lounge here, and then you still have these seats over here where you can sit and work or eat or whatever. Again, storage under all of these seats. So we have like tools and stuff that you get to fairly often under what I'm sitting under. Back behind this guy is our water maker. Do you want to tell them about the water maker?
Sure. So we're running a Seawater Pro, the DC version, a single membrane. So I'd say for a water maker, it's relatively low production, 15 to 20 gallons. But for us, it's more than enough. Coming from trucks, we're used to sort of conserving water to an extreme level. So the fact that we can now enjoy showers or spray down the deck with our own homemade water is pretty amazing. But yeah, so it's DC, so we don't have to run an inverter to run it. We actually have enough solar that on a sunny day, we can run this. And even though it draws 50 to 65 amps, it will be enough from the solar to actually still be putting an amp or two into the battery bank. So we've got initial water filter here that's carbon, just cleaning any water that you're flushing the system with before it gets to it so you don't hurt the membrane. And then a couple of filters from the seawater entry to clean it before it's going into the membrane. So you're not putting anything in there you don't want to. But it's a really nice setup. We're really happy with it. You can also see when I pull this down, this is sort of a loose cover. These are actually just Amazon covers that we got because this is absolutely beautiful white suede. I'm sure at the boat show when they were showing off this hull number 1 1260, this looked amazing, but we knew we were going to make these look dirty really quickly. So Kelsey found these seat covers on Amazon, and we absolutely love them just because you don't worry about it then. You drop a little bit of salsa or spill a beer.
Yeah.
It's totally fine.
You're covered in sweat and sunscreen, and yeah, you don't worry about it, and you can just pull them off and they clean up really nice and easy. So it's nice not to worry about those. So we ended up putting them, we originally just had them on the seats, but we put them on the backs as well. We have our little radio, which is Bluetooth over here. This is a new one that we got just off Amazon again, and it's just a little touch sensitive. It dims light, and that's just nice. I don't know if you're on watch or something and you're trying to do anything.
And rechargeable USB.
Yeah, it is rechargeable USB, so that's really nice. Under here, we kind of keep all of our safety gear. So we have our Timo life jackets there. We have all the lines and stuff to clip in and run safety lines. We have our boots because when it's really wet, we end up putting those on just to have, you know, not stubbing your toes and hurting everything.
What's that one?
Oh, and this is just our little dry bag that whenever we get in the dinghy, we grab it. So it has a little radio, like a handheld radio. Our inReach goes in there. We have lights for the dinghy, headlamps, just a quick safety gear stuff that you might need when you're going on a dinghy mission. What else? Let's see. Over here, we have our little TV, which pulls out, which is nice. So you can kind of direct it wherever you want. Our radio lives in here when it's not outside, and we have our anchor watch on there so we can always check, make sure we're not dragging. That is nice to have. We installed another little like charging station here, so it has 2 USBs, a little 12 volt, and that's just the radio power coming out of there. I'll take you down here. Is there anything else up here? Okay. So coming down the stairs, this is kind of a guest room, but we end up just using it for storage mostly. So we have our scooters in here, and that's just kind of where they live. I put a cover over the bed so it doesn't get dirty or anything. We have blankets and just some random stuff down in here, and then I hung our wet weather gear here so you can grab it easily when you need to, and really that's just kind of extra storage. Coming this way, again, a little bit more built-in storage. We have like our headset, stuff that you grab quickly. Tim is showcasing our artwork. We just had this made and I like that there, it's cute. Yeah, so then this is just a little bit more storage, binoculars, our headset, stuff that you might grab quickly, and then our library. All the stuff right here. So yeah, you can check water tanks, fuel tanks, what the batteries are doing, bilge pumps, you know, just everything here, all the power stuff. This is a nice big locker. It has our inverter in it, but we also have stored, you know, all the screens and different stuff. Our vacuum, which I love. Our little battery operated vacuum lives in there. More headlamps, charging cords usually hang here. So that's just kind of a nice to have. These are all of our sun shirts. So we're always in and out of sun shirts. So I just figured it was easier just to keep them here where you can grab them easily. And this is our laundry bag. Dirty clothes go in there. And then this is the bathroom that we use the most. And we've changed up the faucets. So I installed newer, nicer faucets. And what I did was this little thing here. You can switch between being in the sink and then being in the shower head. So that's really nice. That before it was just a pull out. And I like having it this way because, one, the shower head is so much better. But it's also nice not to have to move things around. So if you need water down there, you can just switch it. We added a little bit of storage here for toothbrush, sunscreen, that sort of thing. That's pretty much it in here. But yeah, I really like that we've changed the shower head. That's a good one. And then just more storage. We kind of use this as like our, I don't know what you'd call it, like medicine cabinet kind of, you know, just bathroom supplies, that sort of thing lives in there. And then this is the master bedroom. What are you looking at?
Higgins close up.
Oh. You'll notice Higgins is around the boat. He's also on the bed. But yeah, this bed is big. I think it's a queen, but then with you can see the extra pads on either side. It feels very big, so that's really nice. We have our extra tablet, which is actually just a spare for our navigation tablet. It's the same one, but we use it as a little TV sometimes in here, which is nice. And there's a fan up in the corner. Just tons of storage everywhere. This is a nice big area underneath. Not particularly organized, but holds a ton of stuff. That is a giant storage. And then under the floor, we have 2 hatches, and like all underneath here is storage, which is really nice. That's actually just a lot of extra food storage at the moment. Storage under both of these. We have stuff that we're grabbing often in these kind of cubbies here, but we do also have, I'll admit it's mostly my clothes, hanging in here. And then even behind that, there's a lot of storage. Our Christmas tree, I'll turn on the light. Christmas trees in there. There's just so much storage back in there. Yeah, it's really nice to have so many places to put stuff. Back behind this door, we hang any of our big sun hats. We have shoes underneath in this cubby. Hats. We have lots of hats live in there. And then I also did make some like blackout curtains that you might be able to see just stick up there over these windows if we are somewhere where we want to black out, or just, I don't know, if you're in a marina, which we never have been, you might not want people staring at you while you're sleeping. I forgot to mention up here, we just did little, like, for storage, you know, we have little dry bags for our cell phones and hats. It's nice to just have a place to put the stuff that we use all the time. Over here we have our EPIRB, easily accessible, and our growing seashell collection. It's beautiful. And then up here we just used, again, just stuff that we're grabbing constantly. We have sunglasses, camera gear, sunscreen, all the stuff that you might just need to get to either while you're sailing or just very often. Kind of keep that up here. We have our electric, Tim's Dream ice water that is electric. Down here, I guess I'll go up here first. This is another kind of storage room. This is like our pantry, I guess you'd say. So we have what we refer to as the truck fridge. Again, Costco. You'll notice a lot of Costco stuff. But this was just from Costco, and it works amazing. So we have the bigger size set up as freezer. And then fridge. And then, yeah, just a little bit of storage. We try to keep both these because this is the access to the engines, very easily accessible to the engines. So literally this just pulls forward and you can get into there, and the same, you just move the scooters and you're down into the engine bay. We got a trash can, which is really nice. It's Tim did a little job and hooked it onto the back there. So nice little trash can, some, you know, kitchen stuff, flour and oatmeal and all that kind of stuff. Just trying to be sort of organized with all the little places to put stuff. And then this is a huge storage thing, which not very organized again. But we just threw a bunch of rags that we cleaned on top of all this. But it has electrical stuff, basically anything we need to do a project, lots of spare parts, that sort of thing. It goes all the way down. It is super deep.
It's really nice because it goes all the way down. A lot of people, I think, have put washing machines in there, really etc. We've decided for now anyways, just to do all of the mechanical supplies. So we've got the tools up under one of the cushions here, and that's all tools, you know, batteries, Makita stuff, anything you can imagine that's a tool. Down here, we have a whole one for plumbing supplies, another one that's just electrical, another one that's really just blocks and things like that, and spares, and even like a broken block. We'll keep it. And just like our repair yesterday, we used the ball bearings from a broken block to repair the jib car. Yeah. So we were able to get that working. So it's really nice to have a spot and say, hey, get me the electrical one, or hey, we need to get into the plumbing supply one. I really need a T-fitting or something like that. So it's nice to know it's all in there. We've got enough oil for 2 more oil changes on both engines, which is a little overkill, but as we leave the US in the truck anyways, we had a hard time finding real oil. Like you'd find some sketchy off-brand stuff or maybe not so good. So it's nice to be able to just pre-buy all that. It's a lot of weight, but as we use it, it'll just get lighter. Yeah, and then underneath the floor too, this is a big area where we have a lot of extra food stores. And I should also mention in these holds here, the floor is actually above the real floor. So if water were to be in the engine compartment area where the sail drives are, or our motor oil or coolant, it won't run through where our food is. It actually runs beneath it and down into the actual keel bilge. Yes. But it's really nice that we know which ones are dry or which ones are the true bottom of the boat. And so if you're going to put food in, obviously you want to use the ones that are stepped up above the bottom of the hull. Yeah. And then, we have our little, so we can make lists or do whatever, a little whiteboard there. I think that's it for this room. Moving forward, we have, this is where all of our dishes live. I love this cabinet because it's just so organized. It has like the built-in little places for everything, so that's cool. Again, just more storage, food stuff, and a fire blanket. I like that all the cabinets have the little hook-in, so you don't worry about them flying open. So when we are underway, everything gets closed. Even these little cabinets have a little grip, so everything can close. Just little snack foods and coffee, very important. Coffee up here. Stove and oven. Oven kind of works most of the time. We can cook things, but it's not great. And this window is awesome because when you're cooking, you can just toss things right out there. I like that. We added the magnetic knife holder, which has been really, really nice. So now I don't have to move the knives every time we go underway. This is also cool. Just a little place for, I just store cutting boards in here. There's a little pocket there. This is our other giant freezer. So most of the newer 1260s, you access this from the counter, which pulls up, which is great. And I think you might have more space actually in your freezer. But I do like that I always have counter space and I don't have to worry about moving stuff to access that. We did spice racks. I think we showed those in the last one, but that's just nice to be able to grab the spices that you use most often. And then we added, it's looking a little sad right now because there's not very many vegetables and fruits in it, but we have just a little one where we can hang our fruits and whatever veggies, and that's really nice to keep them accessible. Up here is where we keep our new electric, like, hot plate, I guess you'd call it. So it's convection. Induction. It's induction. It's not convection. But that is been really nice. So it boils things very quickly. And if you're frying anything, it's awesome. So really like that. Other fridge. It has a teeny tiny, I don't know if you'll be able to see it where you're at, but tiny freezer portion. So we just do ice cubes in that. And keep going this way. Oh, we have another squishy mat for feet. And then this is a big upgrade, which I'm happy we did this. So this used to be just a short little faucet that could swivel. I found this one and it has spray and like stream. It's really nice. It also pulls out, which is key. So when you're washing bigger things, you can do that. It swivels
Love that. Very, very good upgrade. Yeah. Okay. Moving into our guest bedroom, which is also just storage mostly. We have set it up for guests and they have stayed here, but we store the extra mattress from the front where the truck fridge is. And then we have Tim's wing foil stuff right now sitting here, mostly because it's just sort of half put together. So this can go away and then be more like a bed. But at the moment, some storage does turn into a nice guest bed. It's like a queen as well. So it's really comfortable. Storage under here, we keep most of our bags shoved in there. Again, really deep and nice. This one's same. We have like our beach chairs and tables in there. Behind this door, we have probably the biggest closet we have. And right now it's yoga mats and wetsuits and just things that need to hang in there. So that's some nice big storage. We have a little shower mat because Tim is now standing in our other shower. Here, I'll turn it around.
Okay.
You can show them the shower that you're in.
Voila. When we first bought the boat, we actually used this all the time as our shower because it's self-contained. It doesn't matter if you get everything wet. Even the toilet paper, little roll, kind of, sucks it up and closes off. And so we would just use this as our shower.
Mm-hmm.
The two things we realized is, one, the hot water gets to the port side master a lot quicker.
Yeah.
And once we did these upgrades of the faucet, we love it. So we really just now leave this for guests, or if something were to break over there, we have redundancy.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really nice. And then as soon as you open this up, it'll dry out very quickly. And you don't really have to wipe anything down. But you do need some airflow or it's not going to dry very easily. Got the other toilet over here. It's basic restroom type stuff. A lot of storage. There's a block off shade for it above us. This is probably what I come up here for more than anything. We've got the main saltwater pump, so anything saltwater, the wash down up front, or our water maker. And so we have our pump for that. And then, of course, you can get down to the pump out or the dump for this black water tank. So when we're underway, you can come up and open the valves and dump this one out. And then we just have all different storage. As you can see, way too much toilet paper. Like one pack from Costco, 2 years from now, we'll still be using. And, I've got basically a jug of Windex and all sorts of other chemicals that we really don't want anywhere near the food sits up here. And then at the front there, you can see that's a bulkhead. And then in front of that really is pretty inaccessible. Now you've got right up there, there's a watertight porthole. So you can open that, look in, make sure no water is gathering in there or anything like that. But it's nice on both ends of the boat to have those watertight bulkheads, and so you've got more buoyancy. So if the main part of the hull had some issues, you've got pretty big air pockets on the bow and stern of both hulls. But yeah, for us, it just is really a great storage area.
Cool. Anything else you can think of?
I think that's it.
Yeah. This is the tour that you would get if you just came aboard the boat, because we just figured it would be how we use the boat, how we live with it. We're not making up the guest bedroom for guests most of the time. And yeah.
Really, I couldn't think of anything we would change about the boat. I mean, that's what's crazy to the both of us is that, we only take showers every few days. We're in the water every day. And so even having the owner's version with a big walk-in shower, we thought that was like, well, we're getting a good deal on this boat. We're not worried about it. I don't want to waste a bunch of space for a walk-in shower. Neither of us.
Yeah, we're not.
When you do take a shower, it's more of a get it done kind of a thing, and you just move on. So for us, this is sort of the perfect boat. Really, the only thing I would change about it, which is because I'm becoming more of a fast sailing geek, is I could see putting 5 feet more bow and 5 feet more stern on it purely for the top speed while we're sailing.
Yeah.
But that's pretty silly, right? That's like the only thing that I think I would change.
Yep.
There's nothing on the boat. I love the amount of covered space in back. I would hate to have to sit at the helm and always be exposed to the sun. You get enough sun on a boat already.
Yeah.
So for us, I don't know what we change. When we see a boat with small portholes on the front too, it's always pretty toasty inside when we visit somebody else's boat. I love these massive windows. So for us, I don't even know what I would change about it.
Yeah, no, we have absolutely loved it. So
yep.
I'll put links. I'll try to put links for everything. Yep. And if you don't see a link for something, just ask. I'll be able to find it.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll try to put links for everything. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching. It was a long one. If you're still with us, you're a team player. Yeah. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next time.